And it kicks off in the women's flyweight division as we have Barbosa coming in at -130, going up against Melissa Gatto, who comes in at +110. Now, starting off on the Barbosa side of things, she came up short in her rematch against Karine Silva last time around. I believe that fight took place back in August, and if you were listening to the commentators, you would assume that Barbosa was going to get her hand raised, but if you watch it with the commentary off, you could really see that Silva was the one landing more effective damage even when she found herself in bad positions, whereas Barbosa was just looking to hold position. Now, just because you're in top position doesn't automatically mean that you're winning the round. It comes down to who's dishing out the damage and actually threatening to work closer to a finish. Barbosa was really holding on while she was using a lot of damage, a couple of submission attempts from Silva as well. So once the fight hit the scorecards, it made sense why Silva ended up getting her hand raised, especially by unanimous decision. And this is coming from a guy that backed Barbosa that night as a +190 dog. I expected her BJJ black belt to keep her out of too much trouble from Silva's submission heavy game, and then I thought she'd be able to land enough damage to sway the judges to her side. That was not the case. Now, this BJJ black belt is working on her striking training camp after training camp, and it's obvious she's trying to find a way to blend her grappling game behind her striking a little bit more effortlessly, so she's not gassing herself out trying to get fights to the ground while eating big damage and then shooting desperation takedowns. She's had some decent wins in the UFC, obviously the biggest one against Diana Belbita, where she was able to outstrike her and then eventually get the fight to the ground and find that submission, but she has come up short in the Miranda Maverick fight and the Karine Silva fight, where she can't be as dominant with her grappling as we've seen in most of her victories. Now, she's going up against the returning Melissa Gatto, who hasn't seen action in over 2 years, or close to 2 years, I should say. The last time we saw her was in May of 2024 when she got that dominant victory over Tamiris Vidal. The scorecards were 2-0 going into the third round, and it was only a few seconds into that round that Gatto landed the boob punch heard around the world, and we got Vidal kind of complaining about it. The referee told her to continue. Vidal didn't continue, and the fight was stopped due to TKO. But Gatto was pretty much grinding and dominating that fight with her grappling, with her top pressure, with her aggressive striking, and it really caused Vidal a ton of trouble. That helped Gatto snap a 2-fight losing streak that she had at the hands of Tracy Cortez, who obviously had a very smothering grappling game plan that kept Gatto muzzled on the mat. And then in the Ariane Lipski fight, we saw Gatto's aggressiveness get thwarted by that 1-2 down the pipe from Lipski, and Lipski's Muay Thai advantage ended up shining, and Gatto tried getting to the grappling. She was unsuccessful in doing that as well. That was a fight where I had Gatto pretty big, and even though the scorecards ended up being a split, I fully expected Gatto to still lose that fight, and that ended up happening after the 15 minutes had concluded. She's gone through, I believe, a shoulder surgery, rehab, injury, all that stuff. That's why she's been out for as long as she has, but she looks in phenomenal shape, still 29 years old, and still capable of going out there and leaving a mark in the UFC. Now, here against Barbosa, this fight could go one of two ways. We could get Barbosa's grappling that ends up muzzling Gatto on the mat, or Gatto has a competitive first round while trying to defend the grappling and then really starts to pick it up in the second and third rounds with her damage-based approach, with her striking advantage, and hopefully good enough grappling defense to keep Barbosa from settling into a dominant position. As we saw in Barbosa's last fight, control is just not going to do it. And I trust Gatto enough to at least throw enough volume and damage out there to get the referees and judges considering giving her the round, even if she ends up on her back, similar to the Karine Silva fight. I'd have a little bit more confidence on the Gatto side if she wasn't coming off nearly a 2-year-long layoff, but I still feel this is a good enough stylistic matchup for her to go out there, out-damage Barbosa, and win this on the scorecards. So at +110, I feel like Gatto is the perfect dog to start off this card.